Hey guys, it's Constance with Charming Custom Crafts. Here on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, which I keep saying I'm going to catch up, but I will. So I wanted to share this, and I know I mentioned this when I shared the card for my husband's Father's Day card, that I would teach this in lesson 2 because it's a very simple but also my very favorite thing to do. This to me will replace so many cartridges out there, so much online. This is one of my absolute favorite features that the Brother Scanncut has. So I said that I was going to teach this Father's Day card that I made from the Brother Scanncut, and I'm not going to show you what it's read, but it's a very simple card. You may look at it and go, that doesn't look so simple. It is. Oh my God, it is. I had so much fun doing this card. So I'm going to actually show you how to make this. Now what I did is I went to the internet and I put in Father's Day card and put Star Wars, and up popped this. I mean, you can look it up, you can use it. I printed it out on cardstock. Now we're going to use this to make this. Okay, you're probably thinking, I don't think so. You're going to have to cut it out. You're going to fussy cut. You're going to have to use your X-Acto knife, your self-healing. Nope. Nope. Just the machine. The machine is fabulous. So I am going to go ahead and scan this in. We're going to scan it in as is. I'm going to turn the machine on. I actually already have it saved in the computer, in the machine. And I'm going to go up the scale just a little bit on my blade, because I know that there was a part that I was having a little bit of issues on the first one. I had to fussy cut a little bit. So I'm going to scan this in. Now, as I told you before, sometimes the mats aren't always great, and I need to retack it, but I need to buy another one first, because I don't like to be down mat. So what I ended up doing is I'm just going to put little teeny spots of tape. Very tiny. Blue dots might be too strong, and if you see, it's very, very minimal. It's got a dog hair on it too. Dog or cat. I'll try to do a video of Justin today, because I know you all been wanting to know how he's doing. He did have his tail removed. It's so sad. Anyway, so we're just going to put this in. Actually, no, I'm going to cut it down because it's too big. To keep from having a lot of stuff. I have stuff everywhere here. This will revolutionize and make you rethink dies. It's amazing. So I'm just going to cut it down by half, so you guys are wondering. It's an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and I'm just going to go 5.5 inches on it. I'll make sure I have just enough tape, and I do. I have just 2 little pieces here, and I'm just going to put it right smack in the middle. I just like to make sure it's a little bit secure. So we're just going to do it right here. This is a spot that concerns me. Actually, I probably should put a little piece here. Let me take that off. See how easy? Watch. Pops right off. A lot of people do that. A lot of people actually use, I'm going to just put just a little bit at the bottom. A lot of people use blue tape. I'm not a huge fan of blue tape, but... So it's now down. It's going to be easy. Now I have my battery charging, so you guys are going to have to work with me here. This is an old light, if you guys are wondering. It has the clamps on. It has a magnifier. And I don't have a whole lot of any other options right now. When I sold my house and moved in here, it's been interesting. I have a lot of space per se, but no real walls. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the home button, hit OK. No, we're going to go back. Yes, we're going to delete the patterns. Now we're going to go ahead and set it. Here, so you guys are way now. Here we go. Let me turn the light off because I think it's killing the look of it. This is so cool. You guys are going to be like, no way. So we're going to load the mat. Fairly simple, and we're going to scan, and we're going to do direct cut, and we're going to scan it. You can scan photos on it too, but to me, I don't. My cups, I cleaned them and I forgot to put them up. I did the same thing yesterday. Okay, so now it's going to scan and you're going to see it process and recognize the program on it. And you're going to see the image. We're going to do just the entire image in black first, and then I'll explain to you how to do the outline. And I think I'm confusing you right now and totally forgot about that. Okay, so it's going to save. You can see where I've already done cutting before. You gotta keep moving it. I don't know where I put the stylus. Oh, here it is. So, the stylus, this is the one that comes with it. I'm right-handed, so sorry, guys. So, I like just the way that it is. And so, we're going to save that data, which I already have. But I'll save it again for you guys. Now, with that being said, I'm going to eject this, and I'm going to show you what I got to do. So now we have the basic image set up. And hopefully this will work the way I want, because this is something I had to learn, and sometimes I do show it in some of these other videos. But because, and I'll explain this here in a second, as soon as I can find a pen. Why that you might get a little bit confused by it. I don't know where my pens are. I have a whole bunch of pens. I don't get it. Where did they go? I always keep one right here. I got a lot of tools right here, and it's driving me crazy. Try not to use a metal, there's one. A metal, you can use a pencil for this. Try not to use a metal spatula to take it off, because it's bad. But I want to show you, if you look, I'll pull it up. There is gaps between things, so this is where it's not going to recognize everything, so you can see this. Now, we already scanned in this image, so for me to get the full outline, I'm going to give him much more defined face, so that recognizes that outside. Plus, it kind of looks cool anyway that way. You can use pencil to where you can erase it, but what we're doing is trying to define the face, and this is where I'm going to do the outline. We're going to do it 2 different colors. It's the way I have it set up in the card, so it coordinates. If you go back to the video, this is the outline. Let me pull you back out. This is the top piece that we just did with all the pieces and parts. But just note, pieces like this in the front, because they're so tiny, you're going to have to actually hand cut those with your machine or with your cutting board, because they are so tiny. A lot of times they're not worth it, but if you can simulate it, it depends on your design. And what I just did by putting these lines in, oh, so sorry. It's going to catch the outside of this line. It's not going to catch the inside of these lines. This is why I was having a problem. Totally forgot about it, because I did this late at night. So we're going to go over, now that that's recognized. Now, you can cut off I am your father, but we're going to use that to our advantage for this card, which is what I did. I'm going to pull you back up. And again, I am totally sorry. This is all I have. So I didn't even have to take it off. So we know that this image is already saved. We're going to go back. We're going to delete from here because it's already saved. And we're going to scan the data. And I'm going to load the mat. So it's going to be in the exact same place. For you guys to get into other pieces, it's going to get a little more confusing. And this is why I had a problem when I first did the video. Okay, so it's not recognizing, which means I got to reload the mat. It didn't go on, right? Sometimes you get in a hurry. Okay. Should recognize it then. Now we're going to go to start, and it's going to scan it one more time. Now this time you will see that the lines, you'll get a full outline. I'm sitting there trying to figure it out. I'm going back to the video, and I had to redo it, and I'm like, oh, dummy. Because I've done this a couple times, but I was like, oh, I'm tired. I haven't been getting enough sleep, if not, yeah. My husband was like, take a nap. I'm like, no, I got too much to do. Too much to do and not enough time. And this has been a very busy summer, spring so far. D-stashes, me trying to finish up my room, which I'm hoping to get to some of that today. But I still gotta make some. Unless somebody out there wants to share on my Facebook page, I would love it. If you got a video, I link it to it. It's a good way for you know, we're going to hit, where's my stylus? Now this is where we're going to hit the outline. And it should recognize it right off the back this time. See how it recognized the whole backing to it because we connected the lines? Otherwise, it would have done what it did before. So we're going to bring this in. Processing the first move. We're going to bring it in again. The stylus can be helpful. And get the top. Shake it up, baby. Shake it up, baby. Twist and shout. And you saw it was showing the inside, so that'll tell you that you didn't get it all the way up. And I'm going to just move this slightly. And I like the way it's sitting. See how you can see that it's perfectly lined up around the edges of Darth Vader. So now we're going to save that, and we're going to save it to the machine. Now there's other ways to transfer it over, and we will get to that. I don't want to confuse you too much. You guys really need to go in steps. And as you're doing this, you're going to have so much fun. And we're going to say, okay, oh, we already did that. So it's already saved. Now let's go back and make sure. And we're going to go to home button. We're going to cancel that, and in a case, and we can always go back. Now we're going to go to save data. I'm going to go back to the machine, and I know that these were the last ones. So this is the scanned one that we did that we're going to use for the black, and this is the scanned one we're going to use for the white. Pretty simple, right? Yup. Okay, so we're going to go to the white first, and I'm going to hit eject. And you guys obviously don't want to see this, and I'm sure you don't want to hear me yik yak either. Yickety yak. Don't talk that. Okay, I have to talk back. Y'all know I have to talk. So we're going to save that piece because we're going to use the phrase at the bottom. This is how somebody who does not know how to make a card will go, holy cow, I can do that. Yep, this machine does it all. Now, if you look at that, that is barely just over 2 inches, not even 2 inches. So I just took the remainder part of the card on the left side, which doesn't matter because it's already cardstock. And I'm going to put it hopefully right where I need to. So I have to measure how many squares, because each square is an inch. Ooh, pin. We don't want to do pin. I need the stylus. Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to probably have to order extra ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to want it down about here and then over here. So up just under 4 and over about 1.5. So up not even 4 and about 1.5. This should be really good. This is going to be our outline. And I'm going to smash it down a little bit. If you guys have a machine, you guys already know this, that when you put a piece of paper on, the mats don't stay tacky. This is probably the one thing I can say between the 3 machines that I have used that is not good. And they don't have my stick and spray and my stick away anymore, which is aggravating. They actually took the one off the market, made me mad. So we're going to load the mat. And this is going to be where the fun part hits. Now we're going to go okay. And we're going to hit OK again, and we're going to cut. Are we ready? Get over a little bit. We're going to hit OK. Now it should recognize the dots on the board on the mat, and it's going to set it up. Now it's cutting. I don't think you want to see that, but go on. It's kind of the boring part because it can be very loud. So it's doing the outline for me for what we're going to do on Darth Vader. So that's pretty easy. So it's finished cutting. We're going to say okay, and we're going to eject the paper, and I'm going to take it off. You guys obviously know about peeling. I don't get into that stuff in videos because it's common sense. Even a beginner can figure it out. So let me pull back a little. So we now have the outline to Darth's back. We wanted the background so that we can pop it up. So now I'm going to do the same thing with black, but I think, no, I still have some paper. I think I had that sheet. I'm tired. Holy moly. I didn't need as big as a piece, so we're going to go, yeah, I'll go to 6 anyway. Just cover my hiney. Doesn't really matter. I mean, but I would be careful on big pieces. And I will tell you one thing, because the first thing I scanned was, if you guys were buying my paper during my D-stashes, was the doll. Yeah, that was a pain in the ass to take off. And I mean, there are ways to make it better. I'll have to explain that as we go because I have already had to learn some lessons. You guys are going to laugh at me, so I'm going to smash this down. This is why I said my mistakes, your gain, because this way, as I'm doing the video, I've already made the mistakes. And I'm slightly ahead of everybody. I'm no expert by no means on this machine, but it's amazing. But I know that there's not enough videos on this machine, and I go, what the hell? I haven't been doing enough lessons lately. Now, we're going to go back, and we're going to hit the home screen. We're going to erase the pattern because it's already in there. We're going to go back to pattern. We're going to go back to save data. We're going to go back to the machine. And because it was the last thing I did, we've already done the outline. Now we're going to go back to Darth himself. Hopefully I have him right where I want him. Double checking everything. So we're going to hit OK. OK. And we're going to cut him. And I'm going to hit the button over here, and it should line up the mat. Okay, guys, I apologize that there's a little bit of a gap in between the videos. I had a phone call and it was late, and by the time I got to it, the mat wasn't sticky enough. I had to re-stick the mat, so there is a little bit of a gap. But it's the same thing as cutting out the background. I did cut it out, and I did pop them off the mat. So we have all the pieces that we need to make this card. So we're going to finish that card. Now we're going to go from that to this very quickly. When you're doing this and you want it popped up, don't have to, you can lay them down flat. But I actually use the big wide cheapy tape, foam tape, and then on occasion I use the 3D dots. I don't always use it, but you'll see why. So the card itself is pretty basic, and I left it like that, but I did pull out the other piece of paper. I think that's my only other sheet that I have, but I love you guys. So I'm going to put my mat over. I'm going to put the cover on it. I got to clean it again. Soft clean. Okay, so we're going to see the stages. We started with that. We cut it on the mat. We now have these pieces here. And it actually, on the second time, cut these pieces here better. I had to actually put those into that. So we'll see how this works for me. The edges were a little bit harder on this one. I think because the mat's a little too sticky. So the card itself... and a lot of times people make custom cards, custom envelopes. So this is a pretty sizable card. And because of the phrase here is why I did what I did. So a lot of the cards I make, I just hand give, especially because I'm so far away from home. And this is just basically an 8.5 by 11 card that I'm going to fold in half. You can use the craft mat or the scoreboard. But if their edges are off, I'm not really worried about it because I usually trim it anyway. I cheat. So I have just a little bit, and I'll trim that right now. So it's just an 8.5 by 11 card, and a lot of times when you're giving a card to Dad anyway, you're going to end up giving it to him in person, unless you're like us in military. But my dad's gone. He's been gone since my 21st birthday. Like a couple days later, I went home to celebrate and never got that drink with my dad. So now it's all trimmed up real quick. So with looking at this card, it was pretty easy. I just used a white backing, and if I can find that, I made sure I got that extra white paper. Yep, I have extra white. I have a pile here of scrap paper and stuff here. So we know it's an 8.5 by 11.5. So if it's 8.5 inches wide, I want to go a 1/4 inch smaller. Should be a 1/2 inch. That I'm going to go down. So if it's 8.5, I'm going to go to 8 inches. Pretty easy, straightforward. That's going to be just off the bottom. So we're now at 8.5, and because we know that it was 11.5 inches long, it's pretty easy to note that. Okay, that was 8.5. Yeah. And then we're going to go to 5 1/4 because it was 8.5 by 11.5. Yeah, I think so. I'm going to double check it on this one. So this it comes out to 5 inches. So I'm going to slice it. I don't think you want to see me do this. It gets kind of boring. It drives me crazy when people do that. So it's kind of a thin card, and it's a little bit longer than what I want, so I'm going to trim off a little bit more. My husband decided to mow for me. I'm going to turn the other lights on. It's getting a little dark in here. I have to worry about, because rain sets in, we get monsoon season here. And it's not like out in Arizona, because Arizona it starts in July and runs through August. It's almost every day, and when it comes, it pours. So we now have this piece. We now have the base mat. So since I did do 8 by 5, we're going to go smaller because we don't need the big one. Where did I put that piece of paper? I just freaking had it. Holy moly. I'm telling you, this has been a day, and I gotta tell you, my husband got me a hammock, and I don't know what I did with it. Oh, there it is. Duh. My husband got me a hammock, and when I first got it, I was out on it all the time, and then I had my first fall trying to get out. It was comical. I'm sure you can understand. And then, yeah, I just took a big one, only this time I took a chunk out of my toe, skinned up my knee really bad where it won't stop bleeding in my elbow, and then my other arm, and my hand. So I got 4 spots on my right side. My husband's like, do you need help? He didn't even notice I fell. Figures, right? So anyway, because of the fact that we want the stormtroopers showing, showing behind it like they're lined up behind. We're going to make sure that we cut down this way, okay? So and this is the easy part. You guys should be able to, and it was 5 inches wide. So we're going to cut at 5.5. Because the other sheet here was 5.5. I'll make sure I get that right. Or 5. So we know we have the length or the width, and it was at 8. I'm gonna go 7.5. I'm pretty sure it was. If it's a little long, nope, fit perfect. So this is pretty easy part. We're just gonna throw this on very quickly. And I know everybody hates this part, and I don't know if you guys do with watching videos. It drives me crazy watching the very basic part of stuff to do. And I know I can be OCD sometimes, depending on what I'm doing. Since I already made this cart, it's pretty easy for me to make. And now we got the mat on this, and we're going to turn around and put this double mat. Put extra. I'm a tape queen. If you guys have any idea, everybody knows me for presents for tape. And I'm no different with my projects because I want them to last forever. I don't really use glue very often. It depends. Alright, so it's on there. So now I have the base part of the front of the card done. Now, I have this part. Now, you can always put this on before, which you're welcome to. And I probably will go ahead and put it on because we're going to foam tape the back of that. And I'm going to try to pull this down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and put the base down. I want to make sure that I'm getting the right one down because we did modify a little bit. So we have that right there. Make sure it's right so you can see. And I want to trim that corner up real quick. I'm going to trim that part right there. If by chance you have to modify what you cut, it does happen. I don't want you to think that any machine is perfect. This machine is no different. I could tell you that from having all the other cards or machines. So I just wanted to modify it to where it blended better. So remember, when we took this image up here, in the original one, I ended up using a pencil or pen, and it seals the lines because it will not recognize as a crossover. So you have to do that. So we're going to go ahead. Let me check one more stinking time. Better to check twice than to screw up again. Okay, so I like the way it is. Now, to make sure that I do this right, I'm going to flip it this way. No. And I don't know about you guys, but I order a lot of my tape because you can't really get them around here. And usually Michael's don't have enough in stock, and I know Joann's doesn't. So I could put it up here, or I could put it down there. I'm actually going to put this one a little bit different. I'm going to put this one down at the bottom so it's slightly different. Okay, so he's on. Now I'm just going to take this piece, and knowing that this goes on the top of this, I'm going to turn around and flip it. I'm going to put these pieces over. I already messed up my new mat. Now, because it's bigger sections, I don't like to use a lot of the little ones, little pop dots. Now, I generally cut all my custom ones out because it gets very costly. If you guys have bought it, and I know you know, but it can get very expensive. And I prefer to put a lot on. And believe it or not, I bought this at a dollar store that was going out, and they were like a quarter a piece. And I swear, I think I bought them all. Kind of regret, I don't think I did. I kind of regret not getting them all for the price. I thought, well, I'll have too many of them. And the reason why I put so much on is because I'm all about support on your projects, because you want to make sure it's supported, because you don't want something to go flat. So I do, and you'll see I won't use pop dots very often. Actually, this card will be done very quickly. I think you guys might be surprised. It is a little bit time consuming, but at the same time I have showed you guys how to use this machine, so it's taken me a little bit longer because I am showing you, but it's okay because I've already made one of these. My husband loved the card, didn't you, honey? Honey!
Loved it.
Thank you. So I'm going to put a couple more slices in. It gets a little harder when you're using the rolls because sometimes they don't want to come off your scissors. Or off the scissors or off the roll. It likes to stick. And again, if you want to use the other kind, feel free, but I don't waste on good tape. At the same time, I don't skimp on other tape, if that makes sense. And I have all kinds of glues. I'm going to do one right here. See, now that came off. I'm going to totally cut that off. Now, Goo Gone, when it starts getting sticky on your scissors. Joann's used to, I don't know if they still do, and I work there, I didn't know. If they used to sharpen your scissors for you. I know as far as I know, they don't anymore, and if they do, they used to charge $5 a pair of scissors, but scissors have become so cheap. I just buy new ones. Save these for, you know, kids trying to... I'm going to put that more towards the edge in case I need to trim it down. Let me see if I can take that off. I think they've gotten used to the dogs. I think they know, honey. So I know you want to tell them to shut up. It's all right. And again, a lot of times it sticks because it's gotten gooey. I'll cut a nip off of this. Now the little ones could come in handy for this part. And this is where you get into custom cutting. This is probably the longest process of this card, let alone doing one of these. I mean, it depends on how you want to do them. I mean, you didn't have to do the second layering. Pull that back a little bit and trim that because I wanted to make sure. I'll take Goo Gone to my scissors later. I'm surprised I have any left. I'm going to probably clean my mat down on my desk here. My other one, my work, well, this is my work table, my desk, forget it. And even if a little white shows through, it's going to be matted by the white. So we're going to go ahead and put this piece on. This one gets a little more complicated from doing the other one. So this one's just slightly different. I did it the opposite direction. This will probably go over to somebody else or I'll sell it. I have a ton of cards. Now I'll be doing a challenge here for Christmas in July here on Charming Custom Crafts. And I'm going to have 2 winners, one on Facebook and one on YouTube, and you're welcome to enter on both. You have to subby on one and like on the other. So it'll be good. Something I never thought before about doing it. It dawned on me the other day. I was like, oh, this would be fun. And it'd be a good challenge for everybody. And there isn't a hobby out there that I don't think can do this challenge that I'm going to be doing. So I better see you guys do it. I'll explain it. I got to make one. I'll probably make several during this month. In different manners, different hobbies, different styles. Okay, so now that we got him done, I'm going to try to line him up at the top. He might be slightly off, but it's okay. It's going to give that 3-dimensional. So now he's on. His face, his upper part of his helmet. Now we have these pieces. Now you can put pop dot here, but depending on the size that you make them, but I did find that it's a little too hard to do that. So on the other ones, I actually just cut them out. And I want to make sure that this piece goes in the right spot. I think he goes in the other way. Yeah, he goes the other way. So we're going to flip him this way. Oop. And I got to double check it. Better to check than to screw up. Okay, so the great thing about Zig glue, if you guys haven't used it and you're new, Zig glue goes on blue. And as it starts to dry and you know you've got it on in the spots that you want, it turns white or clear. You'll see why eventually why I have this one. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on, but I want to make sure that I get some of the glue off the front because I don't want to get all of it on my hands, which my neighbors are mowing anytime somebody's outside. And you can wiggle it. You have just a little bit of time. Alright, and then I have this little piece here. I use tape on it, but it'd be annoying. Like I said, I don't always use glue. I think it goes this way. Sorry guys, I didn't get my itty bitty tweezers, but I was right on. Of course, if you have one side that's textured and the other one's not, when you put it down, it'd be a really easy way to do those. So, the rest of it's going to be real easy. Promise. And fast. This was just the longest part of it. So even though that it's flat, it still gives that dimension here. So I have that completed. Now the rest of the card in the front is really easy. So well, it better be easy. I mean, if you guys have never done a card, it's going to be real easy for you. So it's just a piece of black and white. And here's the phrase that I told you we would be using, which is really easy. Again, this is something, and you can see I did not do that. This is something I printed off the computer, and you can easily find this image, and this is why I did this particular design to share with you. My machine just finally shut off. But I chose a design because my husband loves Star Wars. More the originals. He don't like the newer ones. I'm kind of that way too, I guess, because we're old school. Now I made this one a little bit smaller, and that's fine. I got glitter glue on that. So I need a little bit of black, and I'm going to go to my scrap bin. Actually, I think I have some right here. It might be big enough. Yep. Because I've been doing so much here, and it's already pre-done. So I use my scrap. So I'm going to just glue that down or tape it down. A little bit more for you guys to see. I try to be aware of that. Sometimes I don't. So if you guys missed something, I'm sorry. Again, I didn't do anything but print this off. This is why I said this. And of course, if you're a little afraid to do something a little bit more to this detail, then that's fine. Just try something simpler. Maybe something that's more one-dimensional. Okay. So I'm going to trim this down. Trim a little bit more. This cutting board isn't like my other ones, so I do have two. I keep my other Fisker over at my desk. Alright, so it's good enough for me for now. So, and then I need the red. And by chance I did get another red one. I know I did. I don't know what that. Oh, hello. Now you can measure. I'm famous, sadly, for improvising, and I'm going to do a bigger lip on it since I cut this one down a little bit better. And it's up to you. I improvise a lot on some of this stuff, and I eyeball it. I've done it long enough to. I'm pretty good with wall thingies too. I'll pull it slightly and pull it down. So, and then I'm going to go and cut it. And I don't think you want to watch me cut. Fussy cutting is even worse to share on YouTube. It drives me crazy. Let's just cut it. We all get the concept. Pull it in a little bit. Looks pretty good, right? Alright, so now I pop dotted that one, and I'm going to pop dot this one. Actually, I'm going to trim that down just a little bit more because I want to show the background paper, so I'm going to trim it down skinnier. This is the bonus to being a little more fussier. My husband's pausing the game for me so I can do this video, ladies and gents. Thank you, Mr. Charming. I'll try a little more edge on it. This cutting board has its benefits and it has its downfalls. I do have a video on it. And it's just going to give you just enough of the edging where you can see it. And again, this one's a little bit different, and I wanted them to be slightly different. This one, of course, is my husband's card. And then I'm just going to put some tape on it here. Again, I'm pretty good. I need to get my other scissors out and clean these. Because I didn't get all the sturdiness on one corner here, I'm going to make sure it's sturdy this way. You can do it however you want. You can be precise. Of course, you guys get that I'm not one of those people that, oh, hey, you got to do it perfect, stop the video. Though this one, redoing the card was kind of my pain in my side here. So we're just going to pop the head off. And I could have had it ready, but it's no fun. I hate fast forwards. And all we gotta do is the inside. That's pretty easy. And I mean, you guys can pick your own phrase. I use cheap little Walmart stickers. If you want to go back to the video how I explain how I made it. Though you guys are getting more of the up close and personal. Alright, so this one's slightly different than the other. So it has two different looks. If you guys can see, I made the white a little bit wider than on this one. It's thinner. So it has a different look. And if you flip this one over, and you flip this one over, I can easily do that on video, but I figured you guys can do it. This one's just pop dotted up, and then I put my own phrase on it. Feel free to use it for yourself. It's a Darth Vader phrase as well as, well, I am your father, but day card is just more of a comic. There's a story between that. But, you know, this is a phrase by Darth, and I just used leftover paper to do the inside. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and this is lesson 4. I apologize, I started with 2, but I had to reset the mat, and I ended up doing 3, and then I do have 5 ready. So stay tuned, guys, and I will put up the rest of the shares. Bye.